Hello.
Oh,
Hey, how are you?
good. How are you?
Good.
I miss you.
I miss you too. I can't wait to see you soon. Um, okay, so should we just start by introducing ourselves?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Sammy,
I'm Malia.
and we're both crisis text line counselors, and that's what we're here to talk to you about today. So I'll start by kind of explaining what Crisis Text Line is. So it's a global nonprofit organization that provides mental health support to all people 24/7 via text. And it's a really good resource for people to use, mostly for mental health support, but really could be anything. Like if you just need somebody to talk to, like it doesn't, the name crisis makes it sound like you have to be in a life or death situation, but that's not the case. If you just really need somebody to talk to, we're here. So, yeah. Your question, Malia. Oh, do you want to start? We're both answering this one. How did you decide to be a crisis counselor?
So, after changing my major to psychology, I was looking for volunteer opportunities, and a friend actually told me about her experience being a crisis counselor and told me like they were always needing people to support texters. So I looked into it and I thought it would be a really rewarding experience, which it is. So, it's a really awesome volunteer opportunity if you need them.
Yeah, I agree. It's also like super accessible for everybody to do.
Mhm.
We're always looking for more people, so everybody should, if anyone's looking for a volunteer opportunity, do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, and then what was training like?
Okay, so this is the question about what was training like and did you have to meet in person, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So training is all online and it is self-paced. It takes most people around 20 to 30 hours to complete over the course of a few weeks. However, there is a deadline in which you must complete training by. I did the fast-paced version, so I did kind of have to complete training by a really close deadline in like 2 weeks. But you're not alone. You are assigned a coach who supports you along the way, and they'll provide you feedback throughout training, and also they're there to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the 2 week one as well. And honestly, like I thought it was completely fine.
Yeah.
And I think I if anybody is thinking about volunteering for Crisis Text Line and is worried about the training, don't let that hold you back because I was able to do it like during school and everything. It's very self you can just kind of do it whenever you have time and they do a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And then the next question is, what was your first texting situation like, and was it stressful?
do
Um,
want
yeah, sure, I can start. So before my first shift, I was definitely nervous, but I was really excited as well. I ended up actually getting like a really unusual conversation to start. I can't really like go into much detail about it, but it was just a very like out of the ordinary situation from what my supervisor tells me. But we have supervisors that are there to help us through everything, the entire shift. And so I was supported the whole way. So it was a little bit stressful, just kind of nerve wracking to know that you're, supporting these people and it's kind of in your hands, but you definitely have the support and the resources to do it. And I thought it was totally manageable.
Yeah, I agree. My first shift was really stressful as well. I mean, not super stressful, but it was nerve-wracking just because it was my first real conversation. But like you said, supervisors and other crisis counselors are on the platform there to support you and there to answer any questions you might have. And also, like, you were trained for a really long time. So you kind of just have to trust your training and your abilities. And if you do need extra help, like, it's really awesome that on the platform while you are like handling textures, like there are like different resources where you get like step by step guidance of like how to lead conversations and how to just handle any situation that you might be thrown at.
Yeah, something that I think is really helpful for anybody who's like thinking about volunteering. It really eased my mind to know that they have like a whole platform of different like things that you can say and ways to handle the conversation if you get lost. So yeah, there's definitely support along the way. Um, the next conversation, the next question is, what has been the most rewarding part of being a crisis text line counselor? I honestly, just like at the end of the day, you're helping others, which is
Yeah.
rewarding in itself. And just knowing that, like, even though there's so many people out there struggling, even if you just talked to one person that day, just knowing that, like, you could be there for somebody when they were alone is super rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, sometimes texters are like really appreciative at the end of a conversation and are really affirming to like the fact that you helped them, which is honestly the most rewarding thing, like to really hear from them say like, oh, this was really helpful, I needed this. Like,
Yeah.
it's awesome to know that you were able to be there for somebody in their crisis.
Exactly. Just like knowing that we can be there for individuals deserving of support and who might not be able to get the support is
Mhm.
just a really awesome thing to like know that, you are making a huge difference in somebody's life.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that it's a free resource, like,
Mm-hmm.
insane how like how many people don't have access to support. So if anybody out there is needing support in any way, it's such a good resource, and it does not matter what you need support in, like
Yeah.
24/7.
Like a lot of people think that, if they text into crisis hotline, you need to be in a crisis, but you can text in for anything at all. Like even if you just need somebody to talk to, like
Hmm.
will be there to support you and just like listen to whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, and it also does get really compared to like the National Suicide Hotline, which we do definitely support people who are in that state, but you don't have to be having suicidal thoughts to receive our support at all by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the next question is, do you get volunteer hours?
Yes, you do get volunteer hours. When you do become a crisis counselor, they let you know that you must complete 200 hours of volunteering. And I know that sounds like a lot, but it's just a weekly commitment of 4 hours. And, if you did do it every week, then that would be like 50 days to reach 200 hours. But you can always schedule time off when you're going on vacation, studying for finals, or just, needing to take a week off to take care of yourself. Like it's very self-paced and you can do as much as you want in a week or but you have to do 4 hours a week. It's just yeah, but you do get volunteer hours from doing it.
Yeah. And then another question is, do you only text or do you call sometimes too? Um, we only text. Sometimes we receive people who are wanting to talk to somebody on the phone, and then usually we'll send them to another resource like the National Suicide Hotline or whatnot. But we're a strictly texting hotline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The next question is, have you seen an increase in the need for counselors since the pandemic? Personally, I've only been a crisis counselor for a few months, so I haven't really seen the impact that the pandemic has had on the demand for counselors, but we're always needing more people to support texters. And since it's like been like crisis hotline has been on a bunch of social media platforms recently, so we have seen an increase of texters texting in. So, if you do need volunteer hours or you just want a rewarding experience, definitely become a crisis counselor.
Yeah, especially during the holidays. There's been a great influx of texters, so it's a great volunteer opportunity. Um, and then, what level of support do we provide? We just provide short-term support. It's not like a long-term therapy kind of thing. Um, we're encouraged not to build too much of a connection with the texters, just to be there, as someone to lean on for a short period of time. People can always text back, but there is, it can't be like many times a day. We that's part of why we're here, to provide those sort of long term resources as well, like cheaper alternatives to therapy and whatnot that people can go to if they need that long-term support. But we're just the short-term. Um, but yeah.
The next question is, what should people expect when they when they text crisis hotline? So once you text into the number of crisis hotline, you'll be assigned a counselor and they will introduce themselves. And we let the texter lead the conversation. We do not offer any advice. We just kind of listen to you, and we are there to support you through whatever it might be, and we can also provide resources if the texter is interested in them, and we have a lot of resources for a lot of different issues if you need them.
Yeah. And then, oh, can I text on behalf of a friend if I'm worried about them? So, yes, you can do this as long as you're not revealing any confidential information or their identity or anything like that. About a friend, you can text in if you're looking for information on how to support them. Um, also, we can provide support for you as well because sometimes it can be really difficult to see a friend going through something difficult or struggling with their mental health. So sometimes it's really beneficial to the friend who's texting in for somebody else to receive support for themselves as well. So yeah, I think if you're really worried about someone, if they're in imminent danger, I would suggest calling 911 before crisis text line. But definitely, if you're looking for some resources and some help guiding you through that, then you can definitely reach out.
The next question is, how long is the average wait for a response from someone on the crisis hotline? From what I've seen, the wait time can be as fast as 30 seconds or as long as an hour. It just kind of depends on the time that you're texting in. Usually later at night from like 9 to 4 a.m. is the busiest time and might take a little bit longer for you to be paired with a counselor. And like I said before, Crisis Hotline has been shared across like a bunch of social media platforms, which has increased the number of people texting in, which also does result in longer wait times.
Yeah, for sure. And we try our best to keep the wait time below 5 minutes. It really just depends on the time and what's going on. Like Malia said about crisis text line kind of going viral over social media, that has created like a crazy amount of people texting in, and usually more counselors will be recruited in to help even if they're not scheduled for a shift so that we can bring that wait time down as quickly as possible. But yeah, we try and keep it as short as we can.
Mhm.
And then another question is, what should a parent know about crisis text line? Honestly, like straight off the bat, I would say that it's just a really good resource that you can be sharing with your kids and anybody around you. And I think a really important thing to note is that if you find out that your child is using crisis text line as a place for support, that doesn't mean you failed as a parent. Sometimes, like, kids just need outside support, and if they can't get that from friends or counselors or therapists or whatever, it's a really good resource. And I think it's important to give your child the space to use our resource if they need to, because it is a really good one.
And I think like a lot of people do text in just because it's anonymous, like they don't have to share their name or any information about them. So it's just like a great way to, rant about something or just talk to somebody that has no idea who you are. And that just might be a little bit more comfortable for them to go to instead of like, a family member or a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also it shouldn't be something that you should be, shaming your child for using. Like, I've been in conversations where parents have taken the phone away from their kid when they're in conversation, and it's definitely disappointing because we want them to have the space and time to get the support that they need. So, yeah. And then can someone of any age text in?
Yes, people of all ages are able to text in, like no matter how old you are, how young you are, you can always text into Crisis Hotline. And we also provide resources for all ages, so that's really awesome about the platform as well. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
There is something that I do want to add. Supervisors and like the platform in itself like prioritizes and like constantly reminds you that you and your mental health also matters. Like it's super easy to get caught up and overwhelmed with the crises of like others, and there may have been moments, where you forget that you matter too and your mental health matters. And it's just really awesome that the platform just really helps you prioritize your mental health as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, does anybody else have any other questions for us? Those are kind of all the ones that we've been given so far. Wait, please. We'll give it a couple minutes. But yeah, I think that was a really good thing to add, Malia, because it's really easy to compare your issues to other people. And also knowing that it's a, sorry, what? What?
The
That,
in uniform what new so.
of
I
course, of course.
think
And
is a question that we didn't answer. Um, Let me just double check. Um, I mean, it was just a question about what's the hardest part about being a counselor and
mm,
if you've ever been scared in a texting situation.
oh, I didn't see that one. Okay. Honestly, the hardest part is just sometimes conversations don't really go the way that you're expecting them to. Like sometimes people just text in because they want to know that there's someone that they can talk to, but they're not really ready for support, and kind of leave you hanging. So that can be kind of discouraging because then you're sort of questioning, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? What could I have done better? So
Yeah.
that's probably the hardest part. And then for being scared, honestly, I haven't ever really been scared because the supervisors that we have on board with us are always there to help and are really good at, kind of taking the lead if it's a really bad situation and, if we're just not ready for it. I have been kind of scared for texters who are in danger, but never for myself.
Yeah. The hardest part about being a counselor for me is just not knowing if I'm saying the right thing or supporting the texter the right way because each conversation is different and some are more intense than others. So,
Mhm.
in those more intense conversations, I do get a little bit scared, like you said, for the texter and just, being able to support them the correct way. And also, it's difficult when like someone is struggling, but there's only so much that you can do to support them through their crisis, and not being able to give them advice in a sense.
Mhm.
But just like we said before, just being there for the texture and knowing that we are there to support them, and they have us to lean on is just a great thing to know.
Yeah, for sure. And at the end of the day, like just being there for them is better than nothing. And so, if anybody is looking for a volunteer opportunity and is interested, I'd seriously recommend looking into it. And we're also here to answer any other questions if you guys just want to DM us or anything like that. Um, but yeah, unless there's any other questions, I think that's it. But thank you guys all for tuning in and watching, and I hope we could provide some information that was helpful to everybody. Oh, yeah, so we give them, so texters know our first name, but other than that, we cannot disclose any other personal information.
Yeah. I go by a different name on the like while I'm doing conversations, just because Malia is a very common name. So if I were, to get like somebody that might know me, then it's just a little awkward, and I would have to transfer the conversation. So I kind of just go by something else. And yeah, we can't disclose any of our information.
Yeah. And that's just for honestly to avoid like building too much of a connection and also just for our own safety because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah. Thank you guys so much. It was great seeing you, Malia, virtually.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. See you soon. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.